Well, hello there.
Hello again.
Alrighty then, my Jedi and Sith friends, it is so good to see you once again. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your friend and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg, also known by some as Megs and Bacon, the Meganator, the Megatron, whatever you want to call me, but today we've got some amazing Star Wars updates. It's the start of a new month, we are edging closer to the end of the summer, but today's focus, my friends, is on the Mandoverse. We're going to be talking about the future of the Mandalorian TV show, and we have some clarifications and news for Ahsoka Season 2. So lots of awesome stuff to discuss. If you've not done so already, please be sure to hit the big subscribe button down below, ring the bell for notifications, but no more jibber jabber. Shall we dive into it? Let's go. So following The Mandalorian and Grogu, I think a lot of us want to know if and when Lucasfilm is going to return to these characters. And not just those who appeared in the film, but also characters like the Armorer, Bo-Katan, Cosco Reeves, Woves, even Moff Gideon, if he's going to return from the dead. But based on certain comments from actors like Timothy Oliphant, who recently said that he's been pushing John and Dave to bring his character back, and they've basically not responded, I get the impression that we're about to experience a Mando hiatus. There was a recent rumor stating that Dave Filoni wants to do more Mando spin-offs, but in terms of the main show itself, and where it concerns Din and Grogu, I think they're about to take a break, and the Mandalorian and Grogu box office kind of sealed that fate. And today, my friends, it appears as though another Mandalorian actress, Amy Sedaris, who played Peli Motto, agrees. In a new interview with Parade.com, Amy opened up about what it was like being on the show. And in a throwaway comment which is starting to do the rounds, it sounds like she doesn't expect the Mandalorian to return. We might be reading too deeply into this, but I'll let you be the judge. Here's what she said. After discussing how tight her outfit was, she says, quote, "But I don't know if they'll do any more of those. And here's the thing. I don't think the Mandalorian is dead. I certainly believe that the titular characters are going to return at some point. Grogu is a cash cow for Disney, they're not just going to give him up." But I suppose with comments like this from numerous Mando actors, they're just going off the fact that for the first time since the series began, they've not received a phone call from Dave. And so, it's normal given their industry at the back of their minds they're thinking, well, Season 3 might have been the show's last. We might not be coming back, even if that isn't necessarily the case. But moving on to our main topic, we have got to talk about Ahsoka Season 2. Now you guys know, I've been covering all of the latest leaks and rumours, from the wild unverified ones to those who come from more reliable places, whether that's established scoopers, news outlets, whatever the case. Well, today we have a few new tidbits, which actually confirm some of the earliest reports. And we have to talk about some leaks that went under the radar but just resurfaced. So the latest development is that yet another source is telling us Ariana Greenblatt, who played young Ahsoka in Season 1, is back for the second season, and her role is far more extensive, with flashbacks that centre around the Mortis arc. Her scenes are so important, in fact, that this is the third independent source saying that the flashbacks are vital throughout the entire season. If Rosario's present-day version of Ahsoka is talking to Anakin's ghost, as far as reminiscing and memories go, the possibilities are endless. I'm not saying they're gonna do this, but imagine a live-action version of Ahsoka versus Maul. It's also worth noting, my friends, that almost exactly a year ago, Ariana Greenblatt confirmed that she filmed scenes in the UK for a secret, undisclosed project. I think it's safe to say this was for Ahsoka Season 2. So all of this information is starting to add up. But here's where things get very juicy, because according to some wild rumours, the role that Mortis plays in Season 2 is quite significant, but it's not what fans expect. In the first 3 episodes, we're given an exposition dump about the ways in which Peridea and Mortis are connected. Peridea, of course, is the second galaxy where Baylan, Shin, Ahsoka, Sabine and Huyang are stuck. They say that Baylan is searching for a, quote, canon version of the Font of Power, which might be connected to Abeloth. But they say it's not in Peridea, it's in Mortis. And they say that this is where we learn that Mortis is located in the same galaxy as Peridea. However, neither has a stable location. They're not easy to identify because the worlds are alive. Their location and whereabouts are contingent on where the Force needs them to be. They go on to say that in order to access it, Baylan will be using ancient Zepho technology, which we did see in some of the concept art at Celebration. Meanwhile, our heroes Ahsoka and Sabine fix the T6. They're going to follow and try to stop Baylan. And how do they know what he's up to is dangerous? Well, according to the leak, Anakin's ghost is going to tell them. And they say that during this guidance, we see flashbacks to the Mortis arc, as Ahsoka tries to remember what happened, the transfer of the daughter's essence, them meeting the Ones, and the celestial importance of the Mortis gods. And they say it's in these flashbacks we see Clone Wars era Hayden Christensen, Ariana Greenblatt, as well as Ewan. Obi-Wan is back, and Ewan was spotted wearing his Clone Wars era robes. That means that Lucasfilm is probably going to avoid Obi-Wan being a Force ghost, and is just going to show him in flashbacks. I think the whole Alec Guinness thing makes things more complicated, so they might just decide to do Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars era flashback, and not in the present day as a Force spirit. Now, there are two things which really stand out to me in these alleged story leaks, and the first is the font of power, that Dave Filoni is doing something that is a canon equivalent of what's in the Fate of the Jedi books, and naturally the first character that comes to mind is the mother of Mortis. Now, while I have spoken about this in the past, I've always been very cautious. I don't want to jump the gun and say it's a given that Abeloth is the big bad. There is so much we don't know about this season, so many mysteries and secrets kept under wraps, but it is worth noting that Bespin Bulletin a year ago heard that a secret actress has been cast in Ahsoka for an undisclosed role that might or might not connect to the Peridia stuff. So in theory, this could tie into what these reports are claiming, but we have no specifics. And the second thing that's really exciting is that this time round, young Ahsoka flashbacks are more prominent. In 2023, fans were raving about the World Between World flashbacks, and I'm sure Dave Filoni saw the fan response and decided to go full throttle. So in essence, we could be getting what some fans call the best era for Ahsoka, but in live action. And do bear in mind that if they're adapting the Mortis arc, then imagine if we see an evil version of Ahsoka possessed by the sun, the sequence where she fights Anakin. Lightsaber training would no doubt have been a big part of Season 2's production, especially in the build-up to principal photography. So imagine if we see more of animated Ahsoka skills brought to live action. Really exciting stuff. But now, staying on the subject of Ahsoka, we have some new comments from Rosario Dawson. In a panel at GalaxyCon Raleigh, she reveals what parts of Ahsoka's character she resonates with the most, especially in light of where we find her at the start of Season 2. Here's what she said. I marvel a lot over her trajectory. It's so cool to play a character with so much canon, a history you can read about, watch, explore, and listen to. And I really think about what it's like to be a warrior for your entire life. And then she goes on to praise Dave Filoni for the Ariana Greenblatt flashbacks, saying this, in those flashbacks you see how small Ahsoka really is. Ariana was tiny next to Hayden as Anakin, and it puts into perspective that as a child, she's in full-on war. It's so crazy. You forget just how young she was. And so, I think I'm just so moved by her life choices. And despite moments where she's pushed towards the dark, Ahsoka always chooses the light. It doesn't matter how sacrificial it is, it doesn't matter how challenging it is, and I really admire that, where she finds those moments where she has to step back, because she doesn't always choose to fight. And this kind of builds on what Rosario spoke about in another recent interview, where she says in Ahsoka's second season, Ahsoka is more relaxed, more happy, and more chill than she's ever been. She's come to terms with the way things have turned out, and a major part of that was her transition in the world between worlds, choosing to live, letting go of the past. So some more teases for Ahsoka Season 2, so exciting. In 2027 we have so much to look forward to. But what do you guys think? What do you make of the latest rumours, the latest leaks? Share your thoughts down below.